Hey guys, it is Wingy here, and welcome to a brand new episode of Why You Should Watch, the series where I talk about something and why you should watch it. In this episode, as you can tell, we're going to be talking about the 1960s cult classic, The Prisoner. I mean, who'd have thought a TV show in the 60s about a guy who can't escape where he currently is would be so relevant in 2021? So for those of you who don't know what it is, like I mentioned before, it is a 1960s drama, sci-fi-ish, action, thriller, mystery type series. It consists of 17 episodes and it stars Patrick McGoogan as number 6. The basic premise of the show is number 6 has retired or resigned from some sort of secret agency, I assume like MI5, something like that. But as opposed to, you know, going off retiring with a nice little pay packet, he gets taken to an island and they want information off of him. They want to know why he's resigned / retired. They want to know if he's going to pass this information on to other people. And the entire premise of the show, more or less, is that it's these guys on this island trying to figure out why he's resigned, what information he actually has, and the opposite is number 6. He is trying to escape this island and figure out why he's there in the first place and who is the person running the show behind the scenes. And for 17 episodes, that is essentially what you get. It sounds like a simple and basic premise, and it absolutely is, but what I really like about this show is it is so pure 1960s television. The way that things are done in this series is very reminiscent to a lot of television around this time, but what I love especially about 60s TV is where they thought technology was going to be. You know, they show these people in charge of this island, like with number 2 for example, in their sort of main control room, and you just look at the technology and think, that's supposed to be futuristic. And it obviously isn't, because, well, in 2021 we don't have anything like that sort of equipment, but it's just so cool looking at the 1960s style future technology. I really love it. And I think the biggest charm of this series is in fact that, not necessarily the technology of stuff, but the look of this thing, the feel of this thing, the way that it's shot and directed. It is such a great TV show for so many different reasons, and that is definitely one of them. Now, what I really like about Patrick McGoogan's character as well, number 6, is the fact that he is just so frustrated every episode. Like, every prison escape, every time he tries to run away, every time he tries to interact with somebody, it always seems to go wrong. But what I love about it is the fact that it's not the same every episode. I mean, technically what he's trying to do every episode will go wrong, but it's not like, oh, they were actually on their side, or oh, they caught me as I was trying to run away. There's a little bit more nuance to it, and the methods that they try and use to get him to talk and tell them the information that he actually has, whether he actually has any at all, is quite interesting. So for example, there's one episode where they bring in a doppelganger of him and try and convince him that the other guy is actually the original one and he's a copycat, just to try and fuck with his mind. There's an episode where they put him in some sort of coma type thing, and he's at this party in this dream, and he is shown people that he knows, and is he going to talk to him, but then he realizes subconsciously that it's a dream. There's another episode where they tell this woman, or manipulate this woman into believing that she's in love with him, and then that leads to another failed prison escape. Like, there's all this sort of stuff that happens every week. It's so creative, the way that they try and get him to talk, but his character doesn't fall for it and is suspicious of everybody. He takes no shit. He takes no prisoners, as it were. Patrick McGoogan's performance, I think, is really, really cool because, funnily enough, you don't actually know if this guy is a good guy. He is the protagonist of the show, but the way that he acts and the way that he speaks and the way that he will talk down to other people sometimes, you do kind of think, like, is he a good guy? But I mean, if you were in his situation, you would probably be just as frustrated and infuriated with everything that is going on. So you can kind of understand where he's coming from. One of the most brilliant things about this show as well is the Rovers, which is in the thumbnail of this video, which is the white blob. So if people were wondering, well, you've missed a bit on that thumbnail, there's just a white ball on there, what are you doing? It's called a Rover. It's like this weird giant balloon thing that bounces after people and comes after people, and it just sort of takes them away, shall we say. This is used not all the time, but it's used quite commonly throughout the series, and it makes this really interesting wheezing type sound, and it roars as well. It's a really unique and interesting idea, and annoyingly The Simpsons kind of ruined it. And that's another thing, actually, I totally forgot. Like, I have this vivid memory of the Simpsons parody of The Prisoner that even has Patrick McGoogan in it. When I was a kid, that was one of my favourite episodes, and it only just clicked recently that this is what it was. It was The Prisoner. I mean, obviously it's a British-made TV show, but Patrick McGoogan is originally American, so the fact that it is such a worldwide thing as well, to the point where The Simpsons took inspiration from it in an episode at least, or parodied it, whatever. That's amazing to me. But yeah, this series has got so many little things about it where I didn't even realise it was from this show, but now I've actually seen it, I recognise those pop culture references, The Simpsons of course being one of them. Another thing that I think is really clever about this show is the main antagonist in every episode is number 2, who is the leader of the operations to get number 6 to talk. But what I think is genius about it is that every episode, number 2 is played by somebody else. So the start of every episode, there's like a little intro where the same dialogue is used by Patrick McGoogan, and it's the same dialogue from number 2, but it's delivered by different people. And then throughout the episode, that number 2 is the main antagonist. So it's not like you've got just one guy sitting there the entire time who's like, "Maha, let's get him to talk," or "Drat, he's thwarted me again." Every time they fail, in the next episode, it's like, "Yeah, I'm the new number 2 now," which I think is brilliant. And I think psychologically that fucks with number 6 sometimes, because constantly he's having to deal with different people with different ideas trying to get him to talk. And for me, it's great because you see different dynamics. Like I mentioned before, there's different styles of how they try and get him to talk. And I think if it was just one person every single week, you'd be a bit fed up with it. But because it is different people, you do get the sense that, well, my predecessor's method didn't work, but mine will. I'm the one who's going to break number 6. And plus, different people play that part differently. It's not the same character. It is a different person, or intentionally meant to be a different person each week. So the fact that one week that person will act that way, the next week one of them might be a little bit more lenient, or a little bit more caring, or a little bit more witty, compared to the other one who is just like stern and strict and is very adamant that they will get information, that type of thing. And it also gives Patrick McGoogan something different to do each week as well. He's not just talking to the same person like, "Haha, I will thwart you this time." It's a case of like, "Oh shit, what are you gonna do now?" Another thing that is great about The Prisoner is the location. Now, it is filmed in a real place in Wales called Portmeirion, I believe. I might have pronounced that wrong. If I have, I apologise. But either way, it is filmed in that place, and it is a very quirky, weird, yet beautiful little town or village. It's called a village in the show. I don't know if it is actually a village, but either way, stunning set. And the fact that it is so weird and a bit quirky, and the architecture of it is just bizarre but weirdly familiar, that's what adds to the atmosphere of this show. And it genuinely does feel like, yes, it is a prison, but you can understand why some people have accepted where they are and are just happy to integrate, because I'd happily live there. There's some very strict rules that they have when you're on the island, but apart from that, seems alright to me. Everyone dresses quite weird as well. Very sort of traditional middle class English. It's very rainbow as well, hence why I'm wearing the blazer in this video. If you couldn't tell already, this is kind of a similar style jacket to what number 6 wears, and I like it. I like the fact that there is this sort of uniform quality there, but not in a sort of orange overalls type way, in a more sort of, yes, you are a prisoner here, but you were a secret agent, so we are going to let you dress up just a little bit smarter. Theme tune to this show is absolutely awesome as well. It's one of my favourites. I had it on a loop for ages. I just love it. There's a particular bit as well that I think is awesome. The title sequence itself goes on for, I think, way too long, but it gets you hyped and ready for the episode, which is always a plus. Overall, this show is an absolute joy to watch. It really, really is. I think some episodes are slower than others. Actually, I will say that as a criticism. I will say that not every episode is perfect or flawless. In fact, I don't think any of them are, but they are all enjoyable enough. They are very, very watchable. The main plot thread of why is he there, what does he actually know, who's behind all of this different stuff, I think is very, very interesting. It's definitely worth a watch. So if you haven't seen The Prisoner, guys, go and check it out. I mean, you don't have to, you are a free person. In the comments below though, guys, let me know if you have seen it, and if you did, what did you think about it? If you enjoyed this video, then make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe for more. Social media and Patreon links will be in the description, as always. So if you would follow me on any of those things, I would absolutely love you forever. But until next time, guys, you take care of yourselves. Be seeing you.